Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working with the Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors and the Faber-Castell Polychromos colored pencils we unboxed in the last video. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm a watercolor noob, and the next few videos are going to show my process as I work through these practice pieces. In the beginning here, you'll see me work a little bit on most of these pieces, but our main focus for this video will be the bottom right panel, which I'll come around to in just a minute. I had initially planned to do all 4 of these in one go and put them into one video, but after completing the first piece, I kind of realized I was biting off more than I could chew. So the next few videos I upload over the next 2 weeks or so will be the rest of these practice pieces. To start off, I whipped up these 4 small pieces, all featuring Pokemon, with different line art methods. For the 2 on the right, I used Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils. For the one on the top left, I used a sepia tone fine liner by Art and Fly. And lastly, at the bottom right, I used a bottom left, I used a Faber-Castell pencil in 2B. Overall, I think I prefer the Kohl Erase and the sepia lines over the darker lines of the 2B pencil. I kind of prefer the softer look of the colorful lines over the really harsh, dark graphite lines. But that's just me. So when I started painting these, I went over them with a light wash, and it turns out it was barely visible because I used way too much water. Like I said, I'm a noob. But don't fret, I started to find my footing once I started to focus on just one piece. Just as an FYI, that footage of the washes was missing, not because I'm ashamed or anything, but because my camera was having issues focusing. You can still see it having a little trouble for a little while here, but it evens out eventually. Since this is the first time in a long time I've attempted an actual watercolor background, I chose a color scheme that I'm really comfortable with and that I really love. My favorite colors, blue and green. I had a lot of fun playing with combinations of these 2 colors as I experimented with mixing them. However, I did struggle quite a bit with generating enough contrast in this piece. I tried to fix this later on with colored pencils, but looking back, I feel like I could have done more work on the contrast in the painting phase simply by not watering down my colors so much. Now that the Pokemon are painted in, you can really tell that the lack of contrast is biting me in the butt. The Bulbasaur in particular really faded into the background, and I ended up having to use the colored pencil a lot to help bring it back out. As someone who primarily does digital painting, I can feel like one of the areas I'll have to work on the hardest as I learn traditional mediums is how to inject contrast into my pieces without a handy-dandy multiply layer. I'm fairly confident we can get there with plenty of practice. Now we're getting to the colored pencil portion of this piece. I started off using the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils to try and pump up the intensity of the line work and clean up some messy edges. As much as I love the silky smooth feel of these pencils, I just didn't have enough of a color selection to get as many darks in this piece as I wanted. I ended up pulling out my cheapo Prismacolor Scholar pencils, mainly dark blues and greens, to help fill in the gaps. Thank little baby Jesus that they didn't break this time around. It's a miracle, y'all. I feel like the colored pencils really did wonders to help pull this piece together. I had a lot of fun adding in these extra shadows and little details to bring the piece closer to what I had in my head. The Bulbasaur was really looking like he'd been sipping a little something until I detailed his eyes and made them look a little less reminiscent of a twacked out demon-possessed cannibal. For the finishing touches, I pulled out my Sakura gel pen and medium white Posca pen. The gel pen had a little trouble rolling over the texture of this paper at first, but I tried it again later on without using such a heavy hand and it worked just fine. I used the Posca pen to add some highlights to the characters and a select few areas of the background I thought could use some more light. I love adding little speckles of white to the backgrounds to add a little interest and a little magic touch to the piece. I couldn't resist doing it in every one of these practice runs. And now we're done. Time for some peel porn. Overall, I found working on this piece to be super relaxing, educational, and a lot of fun. Having exposed some of my weaknesses, I'm looking forward to sharing my journey with you guys as I work on honing my skills. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon is in the comments down below, and I might just include them in a future video. They're my favorite subject to practice new mediums on. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys in the next one.